was that?
Guys, get back to the airlock now. We have a major incident. We are floating free from you. Repeat, we are floating free. Screw back to the airlock.
We wanted it to be much more about the claustrophobia of being on this mission and psychologically what that would do to you. The big prize, the big sacrifice is that you've got to save Earth. But to be able to stay on mission under this pressure from the sun and from all the things that happen to them is the challenge, you know, in a way. And then you see at the end, the Earth is saved, you know, the solution is found. But it's a modest triumph at the end. It's not a lot of flag waving and cheering, because you are interfering with nature. And we know now that when we do that, there's a price to pay at some point.
How did you get the physics right enough? Because all the science talk sounds very convincing, and then I realized, wait a minute, like none of this really exists.
No, we had a science advisor, and with NASA are very helpful as well, and giving you a lot of advice about what their theoretical thinking is. And it is theoretical, long-term space travel, because we're not able to undertake it yet for all sorts of reasons. So there's a latitude. They're speculative, what they're saying. It may be like this, it may be like that. So you've got a certain amount of latitude in what you do. But we tried as much as possible to make it accurate, to make the journey feel as real as possible, that you could really be on this journey with these actors, with these characters, you know?
I need to look at all of this pretty carefully. Very carefully. But if I had to make a guess right now, I'd say we could adjust our trajectory. We could fly straight to them.
But we're not going to do that. Just to make it absolutely clear, there's no way we're going to do that. Do I have to spell it out for you? We have a payload to deliver to the heart of our nearest star. We're delivering that payload because that star is dying, and if it dies, we die. Everything dies. So that is our mission. There is nothing, literally, nothing more important than completing our mission. End of story.
And can you talk about assembling this international cast?
That was one of the big plus things for me, is to be able to cast actors, to come here to Los Angeles and cast a couple of guys who I didn't know, Troy Garrity and Chris Evans, to cast Michelle Yeoh, who's someone I'd always loved, Cliff Curtis, you know, from Whale Rider and from Training Day, and then Kellyanne, who I knew anyway, Rose Byrne from Troy, and, you know, you just get all these people from, it's just a fantastic, it's fantastic for a director just to be able to gather together a bunch of actors who are all equal, you know, on the mission. They all have equal status, and then you can kill them off in any order that you want, you know?
And I want to talk about the music. I know it was John Murphy, and I know he teamed up with somebody. I don't know who it was for this one, but I really liked the soundtrack that they did with this. It was pretty cool.
I think the name of the group that he worked with for this escapes me, but my point is that there was a rights issue for the group. I guess Fox Searchlight didn't want to pay them enough or something for the music, so then they couldn't get the rights to actually release the soundtrack on its own. So it did end up coming out, I think, maybe a year later after the film had been out. So, you know, you're not alone in that, James, where a lot of people were clamoring for this soundtrack to have it, you know, physically, and there was an issue with that.
Was the group called Underworld?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they gave off really good tones, dude. Like, to set off, like, the beginning of Seeing the Sun, you just see it so vast, and they had to make it seem vast with the music, dude. And many other moments were so vast because it's fucking space, dude. So they did a really good job of using the environment. I don't know if when they do musicals, I don't know if they see visuals for the movie first or they just do it and that's what they use. But it was done really well. But I know someone's being quiet over here. We got to talk about his favorite scenes. Diego.
To me, I would say the suicide scene was a really interesting. Just because of the sheer fact behind the event behind it, you know, and it's a Corazon, right? That's her name.
Yes.
I forget her name. Yeah. Just just to see that happen right in front of you is just kind of nuts, you know. And I don't think like I gave that was I mean it might not have been the most meaningful scene to a lot of people, or not even like a scene that people remember, but this is like I think the most like where I felt, to me, the movie was more realistic in its sense that you know, space is such a vast I wouldn't say realm, that I would call it realm, that we can't even comprehend that, you know. So like it's just kind of like, to me, if that scene and that happening, it just felt like I was like minuscule in some sense of shape or form, you know. Like it always, like that scene in particular like makes me feel like I'm just a speck of dust. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Because they're having that vote with it's between all four of them, I think, and then they have to basically convince him to kill himself or give him a blade to kill himself.
Yeah,
and Mace is the one who's willing to do it, but he wants to make sure everyone's on board. The only one who isn't is Cassie. They ask Kappa, and he's like, one man's life over the against the trillion or the billion 7 billion lives. And all of mankind. He's like, there's no, that doesn't outweigh anything. He's like, you know my answer. Like, let him die, of course. And I mean, it's understandable, but it's extremely harsh.
Yeah.
But that's the life that they're in right now at that moment.
Yeah.
You know, one man's life is not more important than the entire, you know, of mankind and the survival of them.
And I felt like it was like, I don't know if it was written this way, but it felt like it was like a throwback to like the Bible, you know, because like if you really think about it, like, you know, analyzing, Jesus gave his life for us, right? In the Bible, that's what is written. So it's like, you know, like it's kind of like giving, like, you know, like it's the same thing, you know, one man giving his life for billions, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It felt to me, I'm not that much of a religious person, but I mean, to me, it felt that way. You know, it felt that was like, holy shit. It's like it gives out a religious vibe to this. You know, like it touches. That's a weird thing, an eerie thing about this movie. It touches you in different aspects of your life that you can relate, even in your personal life, or like, you know, relationships with friends or life in general. That you kind of don't understand, you know, until you watch this movie. You're like, God damn, like, you know, everything could be worse, you know.
Yeah, it questions your existence because, first of all, you got to think about what these people are doing. And what was it? A group of 7? How many went?
8.
8 people risked their lives, billions of miles away from home, dude, and. Like, who else do you got? Like, you don't know what's gonna fuck you up out there. Space, human error, like, all this shit, dude. It can question. And, like, would you guys do this for the fate of mankind? If I was somehow nominated, I'd be like, fuck, I guess I have to do it, dude. Like, I really want everyone to die? I would not.
I would totally pull an Armageddon, dude.
I'd pull the trigger.
I
mean, bro, like,
not even West Pinback.
I mean, you can't answer that question until you put in that position. But I think everybody kind of agrees, like, they would do it in a heartbeat, you know, just to save their friends or family members or other family members, you know, or friends, whatever, friends of friends or family members, whatever. But I think we could all agree on that we would do the same thing, you know? I don't know if we would go to the extreme of, like, killing each other and shit or whatever, but, you know, we would do.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't know because, I mean, they were in those extreme situations where they're they're different. There's some alphas maybe competing, and in a strenuous situation like that, you never really know until you're there.
Like Kappa versus Mace, like when they get like that.
It's like, he gets pissed off because they can't send out their video calls or whatever to their loved ones anymore because they're past the point of where they can do that. But also, I'm just in the sense of like, you never know what your mental state is going to be until you're in that situation. Mm-hmm. So, especially the same type of thing of like if you're stranded on a boat with 4 other people and you can't, there's nothing to eat, you have to kill somebody in order to survive. Essentially, if that came to that point, and then eat them, or like the Donner Party, like they had to eat their dead, which was insane.
Yeah, like it's funny that you say that because like I recently, I recently went through something like this where it was like I said something and I was like, man, if I go that route, I don't care what happens. So it was in a situation where it was like kind of like where if I don't see it, I don't care for it. But once you see it, or once you're there, once the situation is in your face, I think you feel so way different about the situation, Right. When especially because you can speculate as much as you want, as much as how your reaction is going to be. But I think like you said, like until you're in that situation, you really don't know how you feel emotionally wise,
Right.
It kind of fucked me up for a minute, dude. Watching what I was saying to one of my friends, and then watching it happen in front of me, it kind of fucked me up for like a good 3 or 4 days, And especially because it's those situations that you sometimes can't. You always say if it happens, it happens, but when it happens, you're just like, fuck, dude, like this shit really did happen.
Yeah, dude. And besides that, like, even if they don't do it, dude, they're fucking dead, dude. So, like, what else? What else?
Yeah. Yeah.
Diego's completely right with there's a few different allegories towards religion in this movie. So you're not wrong with that. You're not reaching in that sense. You're totally hit it on the nose. There's definitely undertones of religion through this.
I thought it was going crazy, to be honest, dude. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how should I feel? I was like, man, there's a lot of religious shit in here.
Well, yeah, and then towards Penbacker, when I think it's the last video diary or whatever that he had, he's talking about he's really like diving deep into religion and talking about the I really don't remember what he was talking about, but I know it was like super deep and like talking about sacrifice and if this is God's, if God wants this to happen, then who are we to play God and challenge him and things like that. And especially when Kappa confronts him for the first time when they're in the observation room, and then Penbacker's like, "Are you an angel here to save me or something?" And he's like, "No, I'm from ICARUS too. Like, you're Penbacker. Like, are you okay?" And then he starts, then the crazy shit starts happening. But yeah, you're totally right, Diego.
Yeah, like I said, I was getting a little insane about it. I was like, man, because I haven't seen this movie. I wanna say about like almost 6 or 7 years. So okay. I had totally forgot what this movie was about. And I was like, oh shit, I remember Sunshine,
Yeah.
But again, great pick, brother.
It's not a movie that's really talked about that much. And I thought it'd be a fun movie to do.
Yeah, man. I just want to commend you on this pick because I needed to watch this movie again to really kind of readjust myself.
Well, I'm glad I could help you in any way.